today we're going to be taking a look at the Vortex Viper PST Gen 2. This is a second focal plane scope with an MOA reticle. They also sell it in first focal plane with both MOA and mil-dot reticles, but you want to kind of figure exactly what's going to fit your needs the best, because for me, long-range shooting, I decided to go with a second focal plane reticle due to the fact that it does not enlarge as I go through my magnification range. So the reticle looks exactly the same on 5 power as it does on 25 power. So if you're shooting longer ranges, that means that the amount of coverage that you're going to have on your target is going to be exactly the same all the way through your magnification range, where in first focal plane, as you adjust your magnification higher and higher, the reticle actually gets bigger and bigger inside your viewing window, and that can cover up more of the target at longer ranges. So you kind of have to balance whether or not you want a first or second focal plane depending on exactly what you're going to be using it for. Very fine precision shots, you might want to consider second focal plane. And then if you want to be able to see the reticle a little bit larger as you're stretching it out, then you might want to go with first focal plane. Now, this does have an illuminated reticle. It's very nice, it's very bright, it's got several different settings with an off setting in between each setting. So you don't have to bring it all the way back to 0 and then adjust to your magnification range. You can be in setting 9 and then go in between 9 and 8, and it's going to be off, and then go down to 8, and it's going to be on again. And so that's nice. But keep in mind that batteries in optics like this do not last very long. As a matter of fact, I actually left this on by accident for like 2 days, and by the time I grabbed the rifle, it was already dead. Granted, it was probably on the highest setting at that point, but keep some extra batteries around in case you want to, switch that out and use that. This also has a really nice parallax adjustment. Goes all the way from 25 yards all the way out to infinity. So it's set up really nice.
Today we're going to be taking a look at the Vortex Diamondback Tactical. Now this optic is very popular. It came out just about a year and a bit ago. Now it's very popular for a very good reason. It's a very affordable, high quality first focal plane optic, which is what the market has been demanding for years. Now this one, the MSRP is about $500, but you can find it as low as about $350 US if it's really on sale. Usually it's around $400. This optic has ED glass, which is probably one of the best features on it. So ED glass, a glass etched reticle with the EBR2C reticle. It's got a very long eye relief. I mean, this has 3.9 inches of eye relief, which we're going to get to in just a moment. So without further ado, let's start off this review. Let's start with the glass, which is probably the second most important thing on any optic.
Today we're talking about optics, this guy right here, which is the Vortex Razor HD Gen 2E 1:6 variable power scope. When we start looking at optics, there's lots of stuff out there, whether it's little reflex sights like RMRs or your red dots like Aimpoint EOTech, or things that use lenses, fixed power like Acogs, or you get into stuff like this, which are actually variable power. This basically comes in trying to marry up the good things as far as something like a red dot, as well as something with magnification, i.e. being able to use this on 1 power up close like you would a red dot, or being able to crank this up to the top end, 6 power, and being able to reach out longer distances, as well as use for target identification. This optic uses the VMR2 MOA reticle. Also, second focal plane. What does that mean? First focal plane, second focal plane. This being second focal plane, every time I look through the reticle, whether I'm on 1 power or 6 power, it's the exact same. First focal plane, as you adjust magnification, the reticle is going to increase or decrease in size. Where that actually plays out is this being MOA, minute of angle. You have representative lines on your vertical as well as horizontal axis.
The subject of AR optics is probably the most contentious discussion topic in the firearms community. Nobody talks about DI versus piston anymore, and I think everybody agreed to standardize on 223 and 9mm once the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic made all other cartridges unavailable and obsolete. But if you start talking about red dots, magnifiers, and LPVOs, you better make sure your whole afternoon is free. AR guys tend to have very strong opinions about optics, and they are sharply divided into the LPVO camp and the red dot with magnifier camp. Meanwhile, the ex-Marines sit quietly in the corner stroking their ACOGs and quoting Full Metal Jacket. This little guy is not a red dot. This is the new Gen 2 Vortex Spitfire 5X Prism sight. The Spitfire series is Vortex's line of Prism optics, and that's the third side of the AR optics coin. The optic of choice for radical centrists who want their AR to be fair and balanced at all ranges. Prism optics are typically very compact, fixed magnification, low power scopes, generally between 2 and 5 times magnification.
Trijicon has just come out with a couple new reticles to add to that TA02 line. First, it's the crosshair reticle, which they've had, which it initially came out with. Now it has a green illumination as well. They added the red and green chevron reticle, which we're used to in the TA31F, and also the horseshoe style reticle, which has a dot in the center. I like all the reticles. The crosshair reticle, it's a very fast reticle, just like the other ones, but if you're using it for bench rest shooting, not that it's designed for that, but if you like to go to the range and just sit and plink, you're gonna be potentially a little more accurate because of that crosshair style. The chevron, it's what I was issued in the Army. It's extremely fast. At long range, it's perfect. The horseshoe is also a wickedly fast sight. It has a smaller 2 MOA dot in the center with the circle around it, so it kind of draws your attention right to that dot. Like I said before, they come in both green and red center illumination. It really comes down to personal preference. I grew up with the red chevron reticle in the Army, so that's what I'm used to. But some people like green, you know, in more dynamic lighting conditions, that might come in handy. Some of the features of the TA02 in general, the reticle brightness adjustment is located on the side. Battery compartment up front takes a single AA battery, extremely long battery life. The turrets are finger adjustable and they have tethered turret covers, so you're not going to lose them while you're at the range zeroing. It's Trijicon Acog. It's nothing but the best. It's extremely rugged, durable. I trust it with my life.